Okay, Demon's Crest to any percent. Let's give this run a shot now. This run is way, way, way shorter than the 100% run. Basically, it involves killing 3 different bosses to unlock the final boss, and it's kind of crazy how fast you can actually beat this game in any percent, because the 100% run goes to a lot of different levels, kills a lot of different bosses, but the any percent run kills very few, only picks up items from bosses, since that's what you need to advance the game, or the stage, I guess. Basically, we try to unlock the final boss, Phalanx, as quick as possible. So that's Samulo. It takes 3 hits to kill in the Japanese version, 6 in the US version of the game. So obviously we run on the Japanese version. He comes back for 3 more hits to the face. Subsequently, his head falls off and he drops a health upgrade. Capcom shows us that we can break bricks with our head. And then we're going to fly over the rest of this. In the 100% run, there's a place in this level where you drop down and break one of these griffins, that's the one right there, to pick up a little scrolly thingamajig. Which doesn't actually get used, but, you know, 100%. This guy, will try to manipulate him to come down. Okay, that's okay. Ah, if you're quick, you can kill him before he gets up there with that pattern, but that wasn't too bad. Break him one more time, and then I'm going to stand right on top of it to pick up the health drop as soon as I possibly can. There's going to be another boss where I try to kill him while I'm still inside of his sprite so that I can pick up the item without having to wait for his death animation, but that'll be coming up here in a bit. Now here you're going to see me shooting fireballs as I'm falling. The reason we do that is because if you shoot while you're walking forwards, you stop walking. But if you shoot on the way up or the way down, you continue your movement. Now we just try to make it up to the top as fast as possible. I do a little manipulation with this jump to get this spider to come down, so that I can jump up and hit this platform. Otherwise you gotta wait for the whole cycle, and ends up losing about 4 or 5 seconds. So this is Arma. In the 100% run you fight this guy 3 times, but we only need to do it once. And only because we have to. This guy has terrible RNG. In the any percent run, you reset a lot on this boss. And that's why energy balls take a lot of time. And he's just generally a jerk. A lot of times you can stun lock him by shooting him right when he gets off of iframes, but it's very inconsistent, where he'll just continually fall to the ground over and over and over again. So that was a pretty average to bad fight. That item he dropped is called a Crest. It lets me morph into the ground gargoyle, also known as the speed demon. This dashing is the fastest way to get through this game. Used a lot in a 100% run. end in the any percent run. We're just going to breeze through this level. Try not to get hit by that fire, which is completely random. Now here I'm going to pick up an item, not necessarily because it's faster, because it's just more consistent to pick that item up. The other path goes around it, and it doesn't actually save that much time. Plus, that health is a really nice buffer for the rest of the game, because it's easy to die in any percent, for sure, if you're not careful. So let's see what we get here. Okay, I'm not going to die, but it's a slow pattern. Very slow. Again, stand right where the item's going to drop. Now on to the flyer stage. Most of any percent is just movement through the levels and then trying to beat the boss as quick as possible and getting a little bit lucky on the patterns. But there is a lot of movement optimization as well. So here I'm going to take a damage boost to save some time instead of waiting for that little snake to go back into the wall. Here we try to get a perfect hover to not take damage. This windy room actually causes you to move faster when you're flying than if you were just walking, so you spend as little time on the ground as possible. If you get an input on the perfect frame when entering this level, you can get an early shot off and damage the flyer here before the fight starts, but it's frame perfect and there's no visual cue whatsoever. This is the hardest boss in any percent by a long shot. Now I'm trying to get as many double hits on him as I can. And when I say double hit, I'm referring to shooting from the ground. When the ground gargoyle shot connects from the ground, it does 2 damage versus shooting while you're jumping, which only does 1. So that fight, as well as the next fight, you try to shoot as many times from standing on the ground or on the boss as possible. Here we fly above the trees to avoid some lag via little bats dropping out of the canopies. Yeah, the design and artwork in this game is really good. World record is 1044 by me. House of Grind. Switch to Ground Go Girl for speed. Cutscene. Here we do some dashing and some well-timed damage boosts. Here we quick turn around on these brambles to take damage and fly backwards, or fly forwards instead of backwards. Same story right there. If you quick turn around on those brambles, you'll fall in the direction you want to go. Definitely saves some time. So again, try to hit this guy with only ground shots. He can do a number of different patterns. This one is the worst, where he drops out the homing words. It's very laggy, and then you also take damage, which is no good because this boss is tough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, 20. So what I wanted to do there was, on the 20th hit, I wanted to hit him while I'm inside of his sprite, because it would save this amount of time. The time between you see that item appearing on screen and the time that I walk to pick it up. If you don't if you don't kill him while you're inside of his sprite, you lose about 7 seconds, which in the any percent run is an eternity. Here we switch to the item we just got from Flame Lord. That allows us to shoot little tornadoes out of our mouths and create little platforms to hop on. And since this boss always flies on top of the screen, this is the only way to get up to him. So this is a great pattern when he shoots these balls. So I got a little bit too low there. So I'm going to have to go back up, which is no good, but what you going to do? And you try to hit him right on the end of all of his iframes to save as much time as possible. Since a lot of this run is RNG, you really got to try to save time wherever you can. So you kill Phalanx, game's over. This is the bad ending, basically, where the Ghoul realm goes into chaos. Is kind of the moral of the story. The 100% run actually fights that guy 3 times in the form of 3 different phases. The first phase, which is the same, the second phase, and then his third phase, which is actually quite difficult. But in the any percent run, he's super easy. You just have to stay in the air as long as possible. That's Demon's Crest, any percent. World record by me, 10:44. So 11:16, that's not too bad. Sub 11 is a great time. I think right now sub 11 will get you 3rd place on the leaderboards. Yeah, it's a great run, a great way to get into the game, and a good way to progress into 100%. Or figure out if you want to run the game at all, really. GG.